What's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. Happy 2026. Happy New Year to everybody. We're back. My name is Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, coming to you from Budapest, Hungary, and I'm here with my beautiful, sexy wife. Say hi, boo.
Hi everyone, this is Akti and I'm from Turkey. And Happy New Year's everyone. Today we are reviewing Alexanderplatz, Berlin. No, Berlin Alexanderplatz.
Yes, Berlin Alexanderplatz. This is a 2020 film made by the Afghani German director Burhan Qurbani. And this film is like a reimagination or a readaptation of a very famous German novel of the same name, where Qurbani flips the story on its head, where instead it's talking about like some, regular German guy. He talks about the immigrant experience or the refugee experience in Germany. We saw this film, I would say, about a month ago, and we're just now getting to reviewing it. We've been traveling, we've been sick, and I have to say that I really enjoyed this film the first time I watched it a lot. What did you think about it?
Yeah, I think first of all, what the director did, take this classic story and imagine it from a immigrant or a refugee point of view. I think that's really cool. We should do that to more movies.
Mm-hmm.
And
like Little Red Riding Hood, but from Sudan.
Yeah.
Snow White and the Seven Refugees.
No, like Superman, but he's Indian refugee.
Okay.
For truth, Captain Turkey.
Truth, justice, and the Indian way.
And spice.
And spice. All
anyway.
Right.
But yeah, I also really enjoyed this movie. It's a long movie, 3 hours.
Yes,
right?
It's a epic of a film.
Yeah, definitely. First time I watched it, it didn't feel that long. It was very absorbing.
Yeah.
I was in the story. I was curious about what's going to happen. I like the Shakespearean outlet. You have the prologue and then different chapters and the epilogue.
Yeah, it feels like a novel, and the pacing is very well.
Tragedy also. Yeah. It does give that, Shakespearean tragedy vibe as well, which I love. So yeah, I really enjoyed it the first time. Second time, it definitely went by slower.
Yeah.
Definitely more details that I didn't like popped up.
So this is the spoiler review, and I have to say, the first half of this film can basically be cut into two parts. When Francis, our main character, has his arm and when he doesn't have his arm. And I have to say, the post-arm Francis story is much better, right? And just going to the cast, I think what helps this film in the pacing is that the cast is very tight. The layering of the individual characters is done very well, so you get some insight into all of them. And the acting is done phenomenally. So the guy who plays our main character, Francis, is the Afro-German actor Welket Bungu. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. His girlfriend, Mieze, is played by Yella Haas. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. And our main villain, Reinhold, is played by Albrecht Such. There's also some other characters as well, but these three, I say, hold down the film for the majority. What did you think about the acting?
I think acting was overall great. I didn't feel any part of the acting was bad. It was all really good. And I think especially Reinhold, this guy Albrecht Such.
Yeah.
Here he looks like a vanilla guy, and then in the movie he's the best villain ever.
Yeah.
He's the true mental colonizer.
Ooh, okay, all right. That's a very good description of him. Who was your favorite character overall? Because I think when we watched this, because we watched it twice, I don't feel like you were feeling Reinhold a lot, but I feel like maybe there's another character you identify with or feel more.
Overall, women, I would say, because they were the least annoying. They were the ones who made the most sense. Both Mieze and Eva, they were okay, and all the guys, Reinhold is a psycho. Yeah. Francis is kind of dumb, makes bad decisions.
That's the part of the film where it faults at, because the acting is done very well, cinematography beautiful, script generally strong, except for our main character, Francis. His decisions we do not always sympathize with, and even if we're telling a story where we don't agree with our main character's decisions, we have to understand them. And there's parts in here where I say we don't understand Francis's decisions.
Yeah. I felt the same way with Eva, and I'll talk more about it in like the scenes to come. But yeah, I agree with that for sure. I think like sort of the best developed character here is a bit Reinhold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's a part, I would say, if you watch this film on the second run, you're really just watching to enjoy the nastiness, the evil of Reinhold. Like, I would argue that because Francis is so misunderstood by us as the audience, and I would say by the writer or the director, we end up just saying, look at Reinhold, he's just out of control. It just becomes one of those crash out movies.
Yeah. I mean, his character is very complex, and we'll talk more about it.
We'll talk more about it. So let's go through the story very quickly. The movie opens up with a woman's voice speaking over, talking about Francis's story, saying this is the story of a man who wants to be good. We see this young man here in the water, upside down. This is how the shot actually is. And it looks like a woman is clinging to him in the Mediterranean Sea. And then he washes up on shore, and Francis looks like he's the only survivor of a wrecked refugee ship. And the woman who's narrating is saying, he'll be good from this day on. And Francis is saying that he's going to be good from this day on. Francis then is seen later. We don't know how much time has passed, but let's say maybe a year or so. And he's somewhere in Germany, and he's working underground in a mine, it looks like, or somewhere under the city of Berlin. And he's at a refugee camp where a bunch of other Africans are just, trying to survive. It looks like maybe they're not getting much money. They're just holed up in this refugee center set up by the German state. And there are random white people coming in there trying to do, buy sex work, or it looks like they're doing illicit things. And this is when Francis first meets his counterpart, Reinhold. Reinhold is in the elevator of the refugee center, and he finds out that Francis is from Guinea-Bissau, and I think he says something in French that Francis understands. And Francis, instead of being insulted that Reinhold just said his mother sucks dick at a train station, he's like, there are no trains in Guinea-Bissau. And I'm like, you know what? So, yeah, there's more to it a little bit. At the refugee center, there's a prostitute there. Her name is Amira. She tries to seduce Francis. Francis is not with it, and she then insults him and says he's not a real man. And we can tell that Francis is still upset about the first memory that we see of him in the water with this woman, and we don't know the full extent of the story. So what did you think about any of these scenes?
Okay. So the first introduction, I thought it was very interesting because even with the scene, you think about many things, right? Like, is Francis actually gay, or like what is he like struggling with? Does he have trauma because of that? He can't get it up, basically. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting. I'm not sure if this place is a refugee camp, because this place is very like troubled.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it feels more like a refugee house, like not by the state, but just a building or a settlement where a lot of refugees are there, and then they also like have to work illegally in this factory or mine because they don't have their working permits yet, or their identity cards yet. So it's like really harsh conditions. But I like how Francis in this, right before the scene, he finds peace in nature. And I like the flashbacks to like the first trauma that he had, possibly like, struggling in the sea to survive. And we see these flashbacks like multiple times. I
feel like it is a refugee center because, there's no way for these guys just to be all holed up together if they're not making that much money. You know what I mean? I would feel like they would get individual apartments. And I feel like the film is definitely trying to send the message that the way we treat refugees in the state, or at least how Europe is treating the African refugees, is like very, substandard. It's not up to par with how we would, wanting to be treated if, Westerners were becoming refugees. You know what I mean? It's like people are being set up for exploitation.
Yeah, and it's a good counter argument, like this scene where we see him working, right? And all these other guys are working. It's like a very grim workplace. And it's like a good counter argument for the argument of immigrants are coming and taking our jobs.
Or they don't want to work and they just want to suck up from the state and stuff like that. So, I think the film definitely sets up Francis to be, sort of like a clean slate, tabula rasa. Like he's supposed to be this good guy that we're rooting for. But there's parts of me that are very conflicted about that, especially as we go forward in the film, right? But let's move forward here. So basically, Francis is working underground, and like we said, in this mine. And one day, the machine is not working, and so he gets very frustrated because of his situation. He starts banging on the machine. The boss of the plant or the mine comes up and says, "What are you doing, you stupid monkey?" And Francis is like, "Who you calling a monkey?" And the machine starts working magically, and so Francis is like, "Yeah, that dumbass doesn't know what he's doing," and Francis ends up almost killing a man because the water from this high-powered jet ends up shooting up into the sky, splashing on some guy's face, causing him to fall like 20 feet to his near death. Francis tries to be good, as the theme of the film is always about, and he saves the guy from near death and takes him out of the mine, even though he was told just to leave him there or something like that. And so, this is also where we see a scene when Reinhold, the guy who was in the elevator before, makes this speech in front of all the Africans and says, you guys came to Germany. I know you want a car, you want a girlfriend, you want to be successful. You don't want to be in this sweaty refugee camp. You just got to deal drugs for me. And this guy here, Otto, says, "Oh, you're just trying to drag us deeper into the shit." And Reinhold says, "Well, Germany's a free country." So, what did you think about any of these scenes?
I think when Francis tries to do, first of all, just a step back, he gets mad at this guy, which is understandable.
Otto.
The boss.
The boss, okay.
But he doesn't get mad at Reinhold when he first sees him in the airport and Reinhold insults his mom.
You mean the refugee center?
Yes. In the elevator, I mean.
Yeah, you said the airport.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, so I don't know what his infatuation is with Reinhold, even in the first glance. And I think, when he tries to help this guy, I would do the same. I kind of understand why he did it, because he felt guilty. And I think it alludes to later on, I'm just going to say this now because I will forget later, Reinhold sort of says something like, in a world that is wicked, you're trying to be good, and that's not going to work. And I think this is like an early example of that. The world is wicked, but he's trying to do the right thing. It's not working. Like
the film is, trying to set up Francis as this man who's coming to this foreign land to seek redemption and to create himself anew, which is like the classic immigrant story, right? You leave your home country because you want to be somebody else or somebody different, and you want to succeed in where you couldn't succeed before, right? And so one of Francis's things, he wants to be good. He wants to save a man's life when he possibly took life before or killed people. But he's not rewarded for that. And then here comes Reinhold with the whole speech. And I think, this scene right here is the beginning of the fascination, or how this character of Reinhold is so different from all the other villains, because he has a particular way of standing and his speech pattern, and he's just very unique. You know what I mean? With the Mick Jagger arm out. It's just so unique the way he does it, bro.
Yeah, and even from here you can see his colonizer spirit. It's divide from inside, conquer inside and lure them in. But I think also this scene really helps us understand why some of the immigrants, some of the refugees that go to other countries, they are inclined to get into crime because their conditions are really shit. Yeah. So this made me think okay, would I do this? If I was in their situation, I might.
It's hard to say no to this situation. Yeah. It's very hard to say no. But definitely with the red hat, there's definitely echoes of MAGA in this too. And because this is also in Germany, you can't also help but think this is a type of like Nazism or fascism, the same way, Hitler would stand up in the beer halls and give these rousing speeches. It's like Reinhold does evoke a little bit of like dictator, fascist, you know what I mean, Nazi in his aesthetic or his presentation.
He was definitely working for the Nazis in another life.
In another life. And he has a particular mustache too. Like the director knew what he was doing, by styling Reinhold this way. Anyway, I don't know what happened here. I think
it was just a silly insult. Otto says potato to Reinhold.
Okay.
Like potato head or something.
Oh, he calls him a potato.
German insults.
Okay. But yeah, basically, I think Francis in the beginning is not, buying into Reinhold's idea of selling drugs, but then Reinhold comes up to him specifically at the end of his speech and gives him a €100 note with his phone number and says, call me, let's work together, right? So Reinhold also gets into Francis's head and says, this guy Otto, he's nothing compared to you. You're something special. So, yeah, basically, when Francis goes to work for the mine later that day, the boss comes up to him and says, who the fuck helped out Masood? You were supposed to let him die. Because you took him to the hospital, now the people are on my ass for hiring illegal workers. So all of you are fired. But then Otto, Francis's homeboy right here, snitches on Francis and says he's the one that tried to help Masood, and he's the one that needs to be fired, not all of us, right? So Francis gets very mad at Otto, and they begin to fight, and he beats the shit out of Otto with a shovel in front of everybody. And the narrator is saying, Francis tried to be good, but he slipped. And yeah, Francis ends up getting drunk and wandering through the night and then finds Reinhold. So what did you think about any of these scenes?
Yeah, I think here I can understand both sides because Otto is trying to keep his job, right? Because I think the boss said something like, if you don't tell me, you're all fired. So I understand him snitching a little bit. And then obviously for Francis, he did the right thing. He didn't let the guy die, and he got punished for it.
Yeah.
And he got not only he got kicked out of his job, but also his friends turned against him. So yeah, he's just mad at life. Yeah, which I understand.
Yeah, I think it's a very human emotion. I think all of us have been in a situation where you've tried to do something right, even as simple as telling the truth. Somebody asks you your opinion, you tell the truth. And, all hell breaks loose because you decided not to give a white lie, as they say. And in this case, Francis, he's, just in a rock and a hard place. Now he has no job, and now he has to go be a drug dealer with Reinhold. So, but the way they did the scene when he was beating the shit out of Otto, it was so brutal and vicious. I think the violence in this film is done so well, especially with the camera angles and the sound effects. It's never cheesy. You know what I'm saying?
And when it comes to this imagery of the cross, I don't know, this is not explained enough, I think, in my opinion, because we see this scramble of flashbacks and imagery and symbols of I'm guessing before he left his country, where they're in a tent or in a place where they're doing some sort of ritual. A woman is dancing, possibly might be the woman he was drowning with in the beginning. And then there's the cross here. I'm so confused in those parts. I wish it was explained at some point in the movie.
Yeah, I mean...
There's a cow there.
Well, I think that those flashbacks are to show that before he left Africa, he did a ritual sacrifice for good luck. So, he covered himself with paint. There was a traditional witch lady probably dancing, and they brought out this huge cow, and he had to sacrifice it for good luck on his journey. So, but that becomes a symbol later in the film that maybe he sacrificed himself to go, as we see. There's not a lot of religious imagery in this film, I would say. But I think you could argue that Francis is sort of like a Christ-like figure. He goes through hell and then rises from it. There could be that. drawn from it, but to me, it's a bit of a reach.
Yeah, I mean, we never really see Francis being very religious or talking about God.
Right. But I mean, you could draw a parallel in the sense that Jesus came to the world to try to do good and he was persecuted for it. Francis came into this new world to try to be good and he's persecuted for it. So you could also draw that there. But anyway, so like you mentioned, there are these flashbacks of Francis looking at this giant bull with a knife in his hand, and it looks like it's back in Africa. And we're introduced to him and Reinhold now. So he wakes up from a drunken stupor one day, and he's in this apartment in some bed, right? And he hears in the other room some guy with a girl, and he peeks out the window and he sees that Reinhold is flirting with some, cutie. And he then hears Reinhold have vicious, brutal sex with this woman, just pounding,
which is so confusing. From the way he stands and stuff.
Yeah, but Reinhold was beating the fuck out that thing in the other room, and then a few minutes later, Francis comes and meets up with his friend Reinhold, and Reinhold is like, get this woman out of here. I can't stand the smell of women after I have them. And so then Francis ends up getting pushed into the room with the girl, and he is trying to console her, and she's coming on to him. And then he starts having sex with her, and Reinhold starts videotaping it and taking pictures and all sorts of stuff. I don't know what's in the next scene. Okay, but what did you think of this scene?
This scene was I think kind of gave us a good introduction of what their relationship would be like. Reinhold sort of uses him to get what he wants, and then Francis just doing it because there's a little benefit for him, but mostly there's no benefit. And then also what's interesting here, when we see Francis try to have a sexual experience the first time in the movie, he has this trauma flashback and he can't do it. And here it also happens for 2 seconds, and then he's able to have sex with this woman afterwards. Right. So
the way it happened,
why?
But the way it happened, he first wasn't going to do it because not only is he having the flashbacks, but Reinhold comes in and starts taking pictures and video. But then Reinhold slaps him on the butt, slaps the girl on the butt, and they keep on slapping each other. And then they start having sex.
How did that trauma just was overcome? Mm-hmm. I don't know, how did that happen?
I think
it's a bit weird for me.
I think this scene, I didn't expect it to come. I didn't expect it to come, but I'm glad that it's in here. I'm glad this scene is in here because number one, it talks about the sexual fetishization of black men, right? And as a refugee, Francis can be easily exploited. And here, one of the peculiarities or particularities of being a black man in a white supremacist world is that you can be sexually exploited or fetishized the way other men are not because of the construct of blackness in the white mind, right? So the way Francis is used here, he probably doesn't see it as use and abuse, but it is. You know what I'm saying? And I feel just having this scene in here where the first day that he's in the room with Reinhold basically wants to be a BBC cuck. He wants to have a freak off like Diddy. Yeah. I just thought that was so jolting, and it kept us engaged and tied into this 3-hour film. So it was very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
And I guess I have one last theory about it, is that maybe when Francis is trying to be sexual with black women in general, his trauma is triggered because his partner was a black woman, right?
Yes.
And maybe because of that, he finds it easier to be intimate with white women or any other, race or ethnicity because it's not reminding it.
Right, yeah, but that's a very good point, and that theory is backed up even more when we see the other black woman he interacts with in this film. Yeah. So that's a very good theory too, and I have no disagreement with that at all. But really, this is one of the great things about this film is that once again, watching it the second time, Reinhold is so hilarious and so evil with it because this is insane. So after the next morning when they all wake up. after that wild night. Woo, what a crazy night, guys. Francis is like cooking in the kitchen, and we find out Reinhold can't eat anything. He's allergic to eggs, cheese, coffee, everything, right? So he just has like cigarettes and lemon juice for breakfast, right? And Reinhold is telling him, listen, I said earlier that you could be a drug dealer with me, but you don't have to do that. Since you like to cook, why don't you just be my cook for all my dealers in the park, right? And Francis is saying, like, listen, if I work with you, you have to give me a German passport. This is what I want. I want citizenship. I want to be able to stay. I'm not here to play. You know what I mean? So this is when we're introduced to the park where all the business goes down. Reinhold is giving the rundown to Francis. We don't sell to pregnant women. We don't sell to kids. And, Reinhold is also saying, we also see that there's segregation in the park. So the Arabs and all the Middle Easterners are on one side selling drugs, and all the Black Africans are on the other. Reinhold is more akin to the Black Africans because he thinks the Arabs are retarded. But Reinhold is also pretty racist towards Africans too because he thinks they're dumb. And Francis is trying to give food to the people, but the Africans don't like his food. So
they think it's cold.
They think it's cold. So, yeah. What did you think about the joining of these two forces together? These two guys.
I mean, at this point, like, I can understand. Like, it's okay. It's good for him because he's not actually dealing drugs, I guess. Definitely Reinhold is a crazy person, so, proceed with caution. But at this point, I'm not that mad at Francis.
Yeah.
And then when they're having this, like, talk, low-key, Reinhold's whole system feels a bit communist, a bit socialist, you know? Okay. Yeah, a little bit. Like, it's very ethical as it can be.
I've never heard of a trap spot where they give out catering.
Yeah, that's insane.
I've never heard of catering.
But apparently they can't leave the spot.
I know, right?
To make money. And I don't know, like the beef between North Africans and Arabs versus like Black Africans.
Yeah.
It's kind of, maybe they did it because it's also like a bit symbolic of the real like tension between those people. I'm not saying like, of course, not all of them are like that, but there is that like discrimination and tension between the two groups.
Right.
In real world.
Yeah. I think that was brilliant too, how they did that in this film. Because a lot of the times the immigrant experience is flattened, right? Like they just sort of lump everybody together. Oh, y'all are all refugees. But even amongst, newcomers, immigrants, refugees, whatever you want to call them, there's still that divide, that division that is there, right? And I would argue it's the tactic of the white supremacist society because Reinhold said, look at those guys. They're stupid. They're really dumb. Oh, but you guys are a bit better. You're still dumb, though. You know what I mean? Like, It's classic, divide and conquer. You know what I'm saying? But trapping in the park with catering from a baby carriage is just like
Germany is a wild place.
Germany is a wild place, bro. Anyway, this I think is the most important scene. I think this is one of the most important scenes. So our two guys are having a bubble bath. Our two guys just, in the tub, chilling like bros do, And this is when Reinhold becomes like a woke criminal. You know what I mean? And Reinhold is given the breakdown like, listen, you want to try to be good. You want to try to do the right thing. But this society we're in is not good. And I'm not just talking about the criminal underworld. I'm talking about the state, the country in and of itself. Imagine if Germany paid $2 for a barrel of oil instead of 50 cents like we do. You wouldn't have to leave your country. You know what I mean? This country sells weapons to dictators and oppresses people all across the planet, and you're running here. So there's no opportunity to be good. And this is when Francis also, this is when we find out that Francis, might have killed somebody because Reinhold says, did you ever kill anybody? He's quiet. But then he says, I've done a lot of bad things. You know what I mean? I've pimped, I've human trafficked, I've stolen, all sorts of stuff. And so we find out Francis actually was a gangster in Africa. So what did you think about the bubble bath scene?
Yeah, the setting is weird as stuff. But I think like what we see here, and I'm kind of thinking maybe this is how they bonded, is that system failed both of them. Reinhold here gives a bit of like his background, saying like, you know, we can guess that probably his parents weren't shit, probably might be drug dealers or users. He was, you know, mostly grew up in like, you know, correctional institutions, probably went to jail, probably got abused, like all these things. And nobody really helped him but the streets. And it's kind of same for Francis. Like, he says that he's been a refugee all his life. His country failed him. The other people failed him. And, and again, only thing that is saving him right now is the streets. And maybe possibly even back in Guinea-Bissau. But I think, I don't know, maybe here a bit, Reinhold is an anarchist here. And he's rebelling the system. He's saying, if the system is rigged, why shouldn't I be rigged?
Right.
And that kind of like lights up a fire in Francis, saying like, right, you know. And he still tries to be good. He's not giving up that easily. But I think it's like this early penetration of, you know, that kind of idea.
Yeah, the early penetration, that toe is definitely in Francis's booty hole.
Wow.
I'm just saying. But I'm glad we're on the same wavelength here, because you mentioned anarchist, and that's my interpretation of this entire film, but it's summed up in the bubble bath scene, that this is essentially not an anti-capitalist film or a pro-crime film or a gangster film. It's an anarchist film in the sense that it shows how the state fails some people, right? There are going to be winners and losers in the process of the country being a thing or state being a thing. And in this case, we're looking at two losers from opposite ends. Francis comes from a failed state in Africa where there are many failed states that can't give basic needs to their people. And Reinhold comes from a failed state or part of a failed state in Germany that can't make sure that kids that are wayward or abused or coming from broken families can't get full help and development. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very interesting discussion right here. And I love that this part sort of exposes, you know, the whole theme of the film, which is so dope.
And another thing, like, I think I'm kind of like digging in right now, but, you know, when Reinhold says like everything you see here was built at the expenses of others, right? And like when you look at that sentence and you look at it from Francis's view, it could mean like colonialism, you know, how his country is now fucked up because of early colonialism and all of that.
Or the continued colonialism.
Yeah, or the continued. And then kind of like, if you look at that from Reinhold's perspective, then you can see like the class divide and how like, you know, if you're poor, if your parents are hooked on drugs, the system automatically abandons you. And like all of that ties with capitalism.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's a very good point. Now, I think this scene is so important for everything that we said, and we could talk about it much more, but I think this scene is also probably the downfall of the film, because once Francis reveals that he was on some gangster shit back in Nigeria or Gabon or wherever the fuck he was, pimping and pandering, then we can't look at Francis and say, oh, poor Francis, oh, he came to the West and he just became a bad guy. He wanted to be good. No, fuck that. This nigga was gangster from the start.
No, but I thought here when he stayed silent and sort of insinuated that he killed someone, I thought that was referring to the sea.
Yes, it might be referring to that, but he also reveals that he was a monster back home.
We don't know that.
Bruh.
Sure.
Bruh, do you think he said all that stuff to impress Reinhold?
He didn't say anything. Reinhold asked like if he ever killed someone, and then he just said nothing.
He didn't say he killed someone, but he did say, I was a pimp, I was a drug dealer, I was a smuggler.
Yeah, he was bad, of course, but it doesn't mean he killed like a bunch of people.
I don't think, he might not have killed anybody, but I think like the way they frame this film, like he wants to be good. He's just some guy who got caught up in the wrong crowd. Like he's been on this demon time. That's what I would say. And I think that's, it frames the film differently when you see this scene again, Continuing here, this is when we get introduced to Pooms, and Pooms is the boss of the whole park. He's actually Reinhold's boss. You know what I'm saying? And when Pooms first meets Francis, he says, "Is this your monkey, or is this your N-word?" to Reinhold and stuff like that. And Francis is not like that. He does not tolerate any sort of disrespect. And Pooms asks Reinhold, what can be better in this park? What can the workers do? And at first Francis doesn't say anything, but then he tells Pooms, they have no fear. They're not afraid of not winning. Like they don't want to make more money. They're just complacent, right? And so when Reinhold sees this, he gets pissed because when Francis starts talking to the boss like they're equals, he surpasses Reinhold, and he ends up becoming a target, right? And that's what we see in this next scene when Reinhold almost threatens to kill him in his sleep. So what did you think of the introduction of Pooms and Francis's interactions with him?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a old white guy, in a suit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, again, shows, even with the, said anarchism of Reinhold, he's not immune to the class difference, to the capitalism within the drug world, within the streets.
Right.
And it was interesting to see him sort of obeying and being abused by someone who's stronger than him and bigger than him.
Yeah.
And and it also I don't know what it is. In Turkish we say the devil's hair. Someone has the devil's hair, meaning they have some quality that makes them attractive to people or appealing to people. And it seems like Francis has that, because everyone he meets, they think he's special. Yes,
but that's what I'm saying. He's a gangster. They recognize each other. Birds of a feather flock together. That's what we say in America. Y'all have a phrase like that?
No.
In Turkish?
I mean, probably.
Birds of the same feather, they flock together. So everybody looks at Francis and they can smell the gangster on him. So I don't know.
Really?
They can, bruh. Come on. He told the boss the first time he met Pooms was grabbing Reinhold by the ear and dragging him to the earth. And as soon as Pooms calls him a monkey, he says, "Fuck you." You know what I mean? That takes a lot of nuts.
I guess.
But anyway, Pooms is a very good character too, by the way. I really like how this character is added to add layers and dimensions to the gangster world. You know what I mean? So moving forward, right? So like I said, Reinhold has a little bit of jealousy towards Francis, and we see that initially from that interaction with Pooms. And this is when Francis becomes now Franz, because he starts hanging out with Reinhold more, partying, having sex with all of his leftover girls and stuff like that. And they christened him Franz instead of Francis, right? And later on, he's partying with Reinhold out in the club, in these Berlin clubs where everybody's doing drugs. And I just now noticed, by the way, this guy with the sunglasses in the background, isn't that the same guy who was here?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. Why is this guy in two different places?
Maybe he's Pooms' background man.
I know, but Pooms wasn't at this party. I don't think Pooms was at this party.
He sent his spy.
I guess so. Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, he's partying with Reinhold, and he meets this beautiful woman whose name is Eva, right? And they start bonding over their shared African heritage. Obviously, Eva is mixed, but yeah. And what did you think about any of these scenes when he becomes Franz, and when he meets Eva?
I feel like maybe this is one of the first interactions we see of Francis talking to an Afro-German, right? Not other African refugees. And he's impressed. He still has some life in him, And for me, it felt like maybe this is something that only he could have and enjoy rather than share it with Reinhold, because that's what he's been doing. And Eva is so cute, you know, and she's also gives this boss bitch energy.
Yeah, no, she is a boss, because he comes up to her and says, "Nice club," and what does she say?
Thank you.
Damn, that was probably one of the coldest lines in the movie.
She owns the club.
He says, "Nice club, ain't it?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's mine."
Yeah. This is who Francis wants to be,
Bruh,
but he can't.
If I was Francis, this would be a 30-minute movie. As soon as she said thank you, credits.
You're pregnant.
I know, right? Done. And she feeling him from the jump too.
Yeah.
And he's still musty. she is on him. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm sorry. This is why some parts of this film become frustrating, because when you have this character like Eva come up, right, and Francis is introduced to her, like Francis doesn't end up getting with Eva, of course. That's why this film is 3 hours. But they don't give a good reason why he doesn't love Eva. Why he doesn't reciprocate. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to talk a lot about these two.
Okay. Let's jump ahead then. So basically, Reinhold shows, once again, how depraved he is. He brings Otto back, the guy that Francis beat earlier with the shovel. He now has an eye patch, and he makes Otto apologize to Franz or Francis. And he grabs him by the hand and says, shake it. That was hard.
Yeah, he's the true dictator, like, within his circle.
Yeah, I think from now on for Reinhold, like, instead of just talking about every devilish thing he does, we're going to give it a score, like 5 devil heads at most. So
this is a good 3.
This is a good 3. I give this a good 3.5. Making a man apologize for losing an eye, that's 3.5 Reinhold devils. Okay. Anyway, so basically Reinhold gives Francis some Molly, and, he starts dancing crazy in the club, and he ends up passing out in the middle of the streets. And he wakes up in Eva's bed, and Eva's giving him some firehead. And they start making love again. And
that is such a good shot. It's so artistic.
It is such a good shot, right? And Eva then starts telling, how much she loves his skin, how much she appreciates him and likes him and sees something special in him. And she also then talks about her experience as a black person in Germany, where she says, like, they see me and see black, but when I open my mouth, they hear white. And even if the world didn't know and I was blind to my own self, I would still know I'm black, which is so deep. And I'll talk more about that. But then she also starts warning, Francis, like, listen, this guy Reinhold is crazy. I've been knowing him for years, and I don't fuck with him like that. So you need to get away from him, and you could actually work for me as a bodyguard. And he's like, no. So I know you have a lot to say. What do you think about this scene?
To me, like, I think their conversation was very, like, deep, very intriguing. And, like, you can talk about every single line that they dropped and philosophize about it. But for me, what I saw, like, by the meaning of this, like, what is the meaning of this scene for me, especially the part where they talk about race and how they experience race. It reminded me, like, how different Africans feel about race, right. And then how other, like, black people in Europe or in America,
in the diaspora,
who are, like, born in a European nation or born in America, but they're black, and they have a different experience with all these white people around them, and I feel like maybe they think more and contemplate more about race than Africans, because if you're an African in Africa, it's like, it's natural. It's because, where you are. Because everyone looks like
Look at what Frances said. She starts spilling her guts about how she feels alienated from her blackness in Germany. And Frances's first reply is, it sounds like you're the racist.
Yeah, like, Francis is here, like, obviously he's also sharing it, but his experience is more about, like, being human. And he's like, I don't care about, like, all of that stuff. It's a bit like that. He doesn't say that. But, it's like he's not really concerned about that. Right.
I think, with this scene with Eva, this is one of the best scenes in the film. I love their chemistry together, and I love the tragedy of it all. You know what I mean? It makes for great storytelling. But I really think that one of the things that could have made this scene better is, like, explaining more why Francis or Franz rejects Eva. And maybe they could have highlighted, like, Francis says to Eva, you already have everything. I want to get it for my own. And I'm not going to let a woman take care of me. So, like, revealing, like, maybe he still has a little bit of patriarchy or sexism in him. You know what I mean? Because, like, him just going back to Reinhold after Eva basically has everything made in the shade, it doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's very true. I also felt that, like, especially the first time I was watching it.
Yeah.
And also, I would love to have a bit of a more explanation for why Eva cares so deeply for Francis. Like, yes, I get the main points. Like, maybe she connects to his Africanness, right? Because she's half African as well. And then she has the means to help him as well because she thinks he's smart. Like, but is that all of it? Like, I don't know. I especially throughout the movie, maybe not specifically here at this point, but I just wanted why Eva was so fascinated by Francis.
Well, let's keep it real. Francis is a conventionally handsome man, no?
Yeah.
So maybe she said, damn, that nigga fine, tall, dark, handsome.
I mean, just because someone is fine, you don't want to, like, does that automatically make you want to give them a house?
No,
a job,
no, but I mean,
you know?
All right, I think Eva maybe is a bit older too, so maybe she wants a boy toy, you know, she wants to take care of somebody, you know what I'm saying? So maybe there's that.
I mean, she's fine as wine, so.
She is fine as wine, but you know what I mean? She's, I would also argue that maybe Francis didn't like her fascination or focus on his skin color, because that's one of the lines she says here, I love your skin, like how dark it is and stuff like that. That's something like a white woman would say, you know what I'm saying? But maybe he wasn't feeling that. You know, he said, I came here to be human, not to be black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, very deep scene. We could talk about this more, but Eva, she deserves her own movie, though, because, like, her character is that fascinating. Like, you want to learn more about Eva's story.
Yeah.
But
we need a sequel.
You need a sequel or a prequel.
For Eva.
Yeah. But anyway, we after leaving the cocoa butter, he returns to the spoilt milk, and he's hanging out with Reinhold, and Reinhold is getting mad at some girl he just smashed, and she won't leave. And he starts making fun of her for how she eats. And, you know, he then tells Francis, like, you know, you have to help me in this drug game. You know what I mean? You got to help me more, right?
I mean, he kind of tricks him, saying, like, we're just going to load something. We're not going to do anything. Yeah.
This is what he tells Francis. We're about to go on a mission, right?
Yeah.
But Francis doesn't know what's actually going to happen, right? So then they get into this car late night, and they're sliding somewhere, and Reinhold puts on this like mask, like they're about to rob a bank, and Francis just now suddenly understands, oh shit, I'm in some gangster shit. Oh no, what have I gotten into? And then Reinhold grabs him by the face and says, put on the fucking mask, stop being a bitch.
Wow.
So they break into this bank, and they're smashing and grabbing everything, and Francis, you know, walks away and says, no, I cannot do this. And then the narrator says, he wants to get away. He wants to be good, but he can't. So then he puts the mask back on, hops in the car with them, and Reinhold is giddy and laughing. He's turned up because they just hit a lick. And then Francis is like, shut up, stop laughing. And Reinhold then calls him a monkey or an ape, something racist. And then Francis says, I'm not an ape. I'm not like you. And then Reinhold, you know, tries to like kill him. Reinhold tries to kill him by stabbing him multiple times and then throwing him out the car.
No, he didn't stab him.
I think he did try to.
Flashback.
Well, I think in the car.
I don't know.
In the car, he did attack him. I don't know if he stabbed him or not, but I feel like he did. But either way, he throws him out of the car, and then Francis gets hit by a car.
This scene is so intense.
It is intense. It's done
like slow-mo.
It is, like when you see this car just running up towards Francis. But yeah, he also has this flashback to where he was going to sacrifice the cow, but instead he's held down and sacrificed by Reinhold. So yeah, what did you think of these scenes?
I don't know, like this scene to me feels like it's saying, you know, he just has it in him. Like Francis just has that tiny gangster in him that constantly is like on his right shoulder and says like, go ahead, do it.
When we were watching this,
does it.
When we were watching this the first time, we both were like, oh, when he like put the mask back on, we were like, oh, come on, man.
Like at this point, he doesn't owe anything to Reinhold, but I'm not sure if he's still trying to hold on for the German passport. But like, because now he met Eva, I am thinking at this point, bruh, you could have married Eva, gotten your German passport, be chilling in like the nicest apartment in Berlin, and owning clubs. Yeah. And like now you're in this shit. Stop getting me mad.
Yes. That's what makes this scene sort of frustrating because, like, once again, the motivations for Francis aren't that high when you have another option that he could take. Like, what she said is the 30-minute movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, like, I don't understand at this point his loyalty to Reinhold. Like, you know, he didn't really do that much for him. He's basically making him work for free for an apartment. Yeah. And promising a German passport, which he did not hear anything from, you know? Yeah.
But I think looking past the story, like she said earlier, like these scenes are so intense. Like when they fight in the car, when the sacrifice happens, when he gets hit by the car, and then, you know, the following scenes after, it's all done so well. Like you forget that, damn, I've been here like an hour and we still got 2 more to go. So the pacing is done so well. But anyway, Reinhold is celebrating in the club with Pooms after they just hit that lick. And he also threw Francis out the car. And Pooms is actually kind of pissed. He's laid up with his cat boy on his belly. And he's telling Reinhold, like, you don't throw away good tools. You just, is that what you do with your blacks? You use them and then abuse them and throw them out? So, yeah, basically, we find out what happened to Francis. He survives the car crash and he wakes up with no arm. Do we have the scene? You don't have the scene?
No. I mean, I have him later. But
okay.
Not here.
But let's see if we can see it. Yeah, this is essentially what's left of him.
This was so heartbreaking.
Yeah, the scene when he wakes up and he doesn't have an arm and he starts crying, like that was done so real. That was done so real.
The acting, like, I think I cried here. I don't remember that well. But, yeah, this was so heartbreaking because it's like, you know, I don't know, like, obviously we see people who are, like, disabled around us, but, like, we don't see the moment when that happens or when that realization kicks in, and this was that, and that was, it was just really hard.
I did not expect that. When we watched this the first time, did you expect it?
I thought it was going to be, like, Francis battling with homosexuality, and yet we're here.
Oh my God. So, but yeah, this is very intense. So, yeah, basically, you know, he gets saved by Eva. We don't have this scene, but essentially he's like in this like haze coma type thing. He gets picked up from the hospital by Eva and her trans friend, and they drop her off at one of the houses of their friends or associates. Her name is Mietze, something like that, right? And I don't understand why Eva didn't keep him in her house. Is there a reason why?
She probably doesn't have time to take care of him.
That's true, yeah. She's a busy, you know, boss lady, so yeah. So they drop her off at Mietze, who's also a prostitute, right? And she's supposed to take care of Francis as he recovers from his injuries, right? But she actually doesn't really care much about him at first because she says, I have better things to do than take care of you. And so when Francis like wakes up one day and he like takes off his bandages, he like faints from looking at his arm just being a nub. And so she comes home and finds him like passed out. And then that's when Mietze actually starts showing like affection and care for Francis. So what did you think about, you know, Mietze getting introduced to the story and her turn?
I mean, this whole setup is very interesting because I was thinking at this point, like, is Mietze like doing this on the regular? I'm not sure like what is happening there. But also I thought, you know, since we're also trying to figure her out, like, what is her profession? We hear her talking on the phone, like, with clients. And it's just interesting where, like, all these people, right, who are, it's like what the trans friend of Eva says, like, this is a freak show in Germany, like, one prostitute, one armless dude, and, like, all these things. And these people, like, kicked out from the society because they are unethical or whatever. Or different. Yeah. And, you know, they are the most I don't know, sincere or
Right.
helpful people.
They're
Like,
caring.
yeah, she might be acting like an asshole towards him, but
Yeah.
she still took him in, you know, and she's feeding him and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
we're all we have, like, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think, you know, like you said, this scene sort of does show like the community aspect of the, you know, the marginalized in Germany, you know what I mean? The mixed race girl, the tranny, the one-armed refugee, you know what I mean? But they're all sort of, they take care of each other, you know what I mean? It's mutual aid. And this is an anarchistic film. It's all about mutual aid, direct action, you know what I mean? Subverting the system. Very cool. So basically, yeah, like you said earlier, we hear about her name is Kitty. Her trade name is Kitty when she's clocked in, and she sells that cat for $400 for 2 hours and $1,000 for the night. You know what? It's actually a pretty good price. This is a good price. So yeah, basically, Mietze, even though she you know, shows some love and affection for Francis when he's like passed out, she's still very tough with him. You know what I mean? She says, "Don't touch my stuff. You know, don't give up on life. Or if you do give up on life, stay out of trouble and don't complain about the food because I know I can't cook." Because Mietze makes some nasty ass soup.
It's just like flavored water.
Yeah, it looks gross. It looks like gruel. You know what I mean? But I wonder if there's a theme, if that's a part of the film, because all the food people eat is bad in this film.
It's just Germany.
Okay.
Land of sausages
Yeah,
and cold cuts.
I guess so.
I don't know.
There's only like one scene when like one of Reinhold's girls eat Francis's food, and she said, "That's good." And like, everything else people eat, they're like complaining about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Francis is like, you know, talking to Mietze more about her profession, like who pays $1,000 for an orgasm. And Mietze, I think, is very interesting as a character because her sex work doesn't feel desperate. It feels empowering, unlike the woman we saw at the beginning, Amira, who tried to have sex with Francis and felt like she was doing it out of desperation. So what did you think about, you know, her job or the way she frames her job or thinks about her job?
Yeah, I think like you're right. It has this empowering vibe to it. And it feels like, you know, I don't know. It feels like she does this like very professionally, like has it under control and does it like liking it. And yeah, it also feels like maybe she's a bit of a higher level sex worker.
Yeah.
Like she charges more.
But she also does that kinky stuff.
Yeah. But I think this is like this was a very intriguing moment for Francis because, you know, if we assume that he still has those like traditionally patriarchal point of views, you know, now he's living with a sex worker who's independent and doesn't give a fuck about like what he thinks and that sort of thing. So I think that intrigues Francis into like examining her more.
Yeah, it is an interesting situation because, like, I guess we could assume that Francis has a lot of patriarchy within him, but also at the same time, he said he was a pimp before. You know what I mean? He dealt with prostitutes before, so there's a part of me that feels like maybe this situation is not that new for him, that he's actually been here before. It's a theory that I have, but yeah, I think you know, the bonding between them really starts to get deep because Francis actually like cooks for her when she goes out to work. So it's sort of like you said, it's subverting a lot of the norms because he's not a sort of stay-at-home. He's a kept woman or a kept man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He cooks for her, lights a candle for her. You know, has her cigarettes laid out so she can come home and just kick her shoes off.
Yeah.
So it's hard to do a foot massage though with one arm though.
Wow.
But yeah, basically Kitty goes to work one day and she ends up getting drugged by one of her clients who, you know, basically takes advantage of her and another girl while they're knocked out, right? And she comes home and tells Francis about this, and Francis is pissed. You know, Francis, the good boy, he's like, "Oh my gosh, God golly, that's so horrible. What are we going to do? You know, we'll make it right. And he goes home and he beats the shit out of the man. Francis, the guy who's so good, the poor African who just showed up and just wants to be nice, but breaks into a home and beats the shit out of
that was well deserved.
It was well deserved, but more evidence to the gangster shit in his spirit, bruh. This man is G'd up from the feet up. I'm sorry, go ahead. Any comments on this scene? Because it was pretty intense.
Yeah, I mean, I think this scene was sort of there to show the brutality and how dangerous sex work could be. Because, yeah, you're basically going into a very extremely intimate situation with people you don't know. Yeah. And you're vulnerable as a woman and also as a sex worker. So, yeah. But I like the fact that, I mean, this is where we know Francis was a pimp, because he knew like how to get that straight, you know. He was like, you don't fuck with my girl like that.
I know, right?
So yeah, but I like the scene where, you know, the she's also like speaking in the background, I think, saying like, oh, I'm gonna get my revenge, freedom is mine, retribution is mine, and all those.
I think a lot of the time she's reading or reciting poetry that's probably very famous in Germany, and also she's reciting passages from the Bible. And so paired with the music and like this soft woman's voice as she's reciting this like vicious poetry about death and retribution and bloodshed, it's like it makes for very intense scenes like this one. You know what I mean? Which are so good. It also makes me wonder in these scenes, like, where are the police in Germany? Because they're, like, doing mad crimes and they're getting away with
this is the underground game.
I know it is mad underground, but there's, like, zero cops. Like, I'm sorry, but anyway. They're at this club later, and we find out more about Mietze's, life and worldview. You know what I mean? She talks about how she never had a good relationship with her mom. Maybe her mom pushed her when she was young, causing her front teeth to fall out. And she talks about how men are very simple. You know what I mean? You know, they want to be with her because they want to be reminded of their mothers, except they want to fuck them. You know what I mean? And she then starts talking about how men are just focused on sex, right? And she starts dancing, and some guy tries to grind on her, and then she jumps on him and starts saying, "Death is mine. I will have your head on a spike, you motherfucker." So shit like that, like just evil, wicked shit. But what did you think about this scene?
I mean, I like the fact that there was more information about Mietze, and her also. She has a troubled past. She had bad parents, and she sort of maybe uses her work as a shield as well, or like some sort of, I don't know, get back or revenge. I'm not sure. But anyway, I thought like the symbolism here, there are tiny details in this movie that I really like. Like, for example, the statue here, they take it from the guy they beat up.
The rapist.
Yeah, the rapist's house. And it's like an African statue with a big dick. And that's like a very, I don't know, common stereotype. And for some reason, white people love to have that shit in their house. Like, what is that? Even in Turkey, I remember in stores, like, you can see this big dick statues. Like, I don't know why. Yeah. But, and why would you, like, have it in your house, especially when you're racist. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, I like those little, symbols and cultural, I don't know, hints there.
I was thinking about that because the way Mietze frames it, number one, it's in a white man's house in Germany, and this is, of course, a cultural artifact from Africa, but she says all men are the same. So that implies also that in Africa, there's this obsession with the phallus, the penis as well, too, right? And so it's almost like it's non-racialized and non-racist in what she's saying. Like, all men, no matter where they are obsessed with sex, the phallus, penis, strength, power, whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, when she uses it, she's only pointing at the genitalia.
Yeah. But also the general characteristics of men, right? No matter where they are, right? So, very interesting scene right here. I like Mietze as a character. She's probably, I would say, the least annoying. She's the one that does the most sensible stuff. Yeah. I mean, Reinhold is entertaining as hell, and so he's not really annoying. He's just like wicked and vicious. But there's parts where you're like, Francis, wake up, man. You know what I mean? So basically, I think this is the first scene where they make love after they come from the bar. And, they have a sensual moment. Francis is still having a bit of flashbacks about his past life. And this is when we find out that the woman that was clinging to him before in the water, he ends up giving her a karate chop on the neck. And she ends up drowning. And Francis then floats up to the top and lands on the shores of, I don't know, Portugal. Wherever, right? So, yeah, he wakes up in the morning and Mietse is like saying, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "I kill people." And yeah, this is actually a very cool scene too. I like the lighting here and the way it's shot as well. So, what did you think about this reveal when we find out Francis is a killer and him and Mietse becoming an item?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call him a killer because this is a very, I don't know, unfortunate situation that you're in, and it's not even something you do it consciously in that moment. If you're fighting for, breathing fresh air, you just push down whatever is holding you down. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what happened to him in that moment.
No, he gave a karate chop. It wasn't a push. It was like, chop.
It doesn't matter what movement he did. Like,
so you going to do that to me if I'm drowning?
Okay, it's a stupid question.
How is that a stupid question? You don't want to answer.
Question.
You don't want to answer.
Because I don't know what I will do when I'm trying to, survive. It's like this unconscious thing I feel like he did.
Okay.
And, and he feels guilty for it, which is also very understandable. Mm-hmm. In the essence of it, I don't think he is guilty, but he feels guilty, which is very normal, I would say. And here, he sort of, I think he's afraid to let go and love. And he says something like, whoever I love, I kill them, or I bring death to them. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think Mietse is like, I'm not afraid of you, or something like that, which is acceptance.
Right. I mean, this film makes you think about, how the refugees have to sacrifice so much to make it to another place and a new place, and how we make it excessively hard for that to happen. And while, people aren't necessarily killing their girlfriends or wives to, as explicit as this most of the time, it does symbolize what the refugee experience is like. You do have to risk it all, cut yourself off from your loved ones, you know what I mean? Be willing to sever all ties, you know what I mean? So that's what that scene made me think about as well, But moving forward in the story, Eva comes up and she's checking on Francis, or Franz as he's now known. And she says, "You know what? I got you an apartment. I got you a car. I got you everything you need to set up and be your own man." And Franz is like, "No, I'm staying here." And Nancy's like, "Yeah, he's staying with me now." And he says, "I'm going to be working with Reinhold," or something like that, right? And Eva's coming to him you can get rid of Reinhold. And Francis says, "Listen, I know I lost my arm, but I still like Reinhold. It was an accident. Don't worry about that." And yeah, what did you think about this scene?
Yeah, this is one of the most annoying scenes.
Yeah.
First of all, Eva, why are you chasing this man like you're Mario and trying to get to the gold coins? Girl, you deserve better.
Yes, she does.
And I understand the appeal. He has charisma, he has good looks, all of that. But still, she's trying too hard. And once again, we don't have a reason other than maybe she finds him attractive and charismatic.
I mean,
we all do.
But there's possibly also she probably sees her father in Francis, right? She has
explain that then.
Yes,
if that's the case.
Yes.
What is the infatuation with him?
Right. Right. I mean, she's trying to save him from the Snow Bunny crisis. She watches a lot of Dr. Umar.
Yeah, I don't know, whoever helped her, maybe a refugee helped her come up in the club business. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But I feel we needed an explanation for this hardcore chase. Because it just didn't make sense to me, because she's a boss lady. And why are you chasing after this drug dealer?
We just needed Umar in this scene to say, "Brother."
Yeah, I just needed to rant for Eva.
Yes.
And then I also don't understand why, he's still saying like he's defending Reinhold when Reinhold is the reason his life is shit right now.
This makes me think about, I think Mietza said earlier at the bar scene when she talked about her mother pushing her, she said, it makes me feel distant from my mom because you don't push away what you love. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I felt like that line went into Francis's head, and instead of being interpreted correctly, like, oh yeah, if somebody pushes me out of a car, they don't love me. It became her mother obviously loves her, and he pushed her. So hey, it's the same with me and Reinhold.
Well, how did that happen?
Exactly. Make it make sense in Francis's mind. I don't know. Mietze said the same thing. And then
this is why the second time is really hard.
It is. It is so annoying. It is so annoying. And especially with Eva just showing up looking this good and Mietze looking so plain. I'm sorry, man. It's so annoying. It's so annoying.
It's like adobo and mayonnaise.
I know, right? It's, Sierra and Jojo Siwa. I'm just going to continue here. Anyway, so Francis, instead of going to get an apartment and, hanging out with Eva, he becomes a pimp. Definitely not fulfilling the stereotypes.
How to run away from good fortune.
Run from the pussy. Run
by
from the
Francis.
Anyway, it was kind of funny how they did the pimp scene. Like she ends up putting on the golden wig and a white mink fur, and she's still driving the car. But then she says, "Francis is the pimp." Make it make sense.
I mean, he got one arm, so
he does have one arm. But yeah. Anyway, more complaining about the food. Francis is gone, and Otto is now cooking in the park. The drug dealers are complaining because Francis is not there. Reinhold's still holding down the block. And then one day, Francis storms into Reinhold's apartment, catches him by the neck, and tries to kill him. Reinhold saying, do it, take me out, take me now. And then Francis ends up not killing him. and Reinhold ends up saying, "Can I see your arm?" And he looks at it, and then he says, "That's fucking disgusting." All right, we have to rate this on Reinhold Devil scales. I give this like a 2.5.
This is like a 4.
This is a 4.
This is annoying as fuck. I swear, I would have killed him there when he says, "Can I see your arm?"
Oh, that's disgusting.
You're dead. You're dead.
And then he says, "Oh, that looks gross."
Yeah, this happened because of you. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Oh, well, man. Reinhold is out of control, man. And so, yeah, basically, Francis really starts pouring out his heart. It's like, you left me alone. Why did you do this to me?
Reinhold.
Oh, sorry. Basically, Francis says, "Why did you do this?" He wants to know why. And Francis starts spilling out his heart. No, Reinhold starts spilling his heart. And he says, "You left me alone. I scraped you off the streets. I made you into something. Everybody else sees you as some dumb ape or monkey. I see you as a man." And Francis, or Franz, says, "Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, maybe this is my punishment for being bad." And then Reinhold says, "Yeah, it is your punishment." And then he starts crying, and then Reinhold says, "You're immortal. You're my immortal monkey. I mean man." And so, yeah, what did you think about the heart-to-heart?
Yeah, he's a hardcore gaslighter.
Oh, this is ultimate gaslighting.
Yeah, and he's, once again, I don't know how he does it. He uses, being an ally while still being racist, and then enchants him. But then again, I think we've established that maybe, Francis doesn't care that much about, how he's seen in terms of his race.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think he's also still feeling guilty about killing his girl back there in the sea.
What do you think the film is trying to say about guilt and how we feel about ourselves for bad things we've done? I feel like this film is sort of like anti-karma in a way, because I think a lot of the times we say we deserve bad things that happen to us because we did something bad way, way back in the past. Mm-hmm. But literally, that's magical thinking. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
I cheated on my 5th grade test. That's why my girl cheated on me today. Like, the fuck? No. Like,
but it's also like what we manifest and tell ourselves, because, you know, when we tell ourselves something from our minds, oh, like, I don't know, I'm a cheater, or I'm a liar, or I deserve this. Those are the things that we create in our minds, like you said. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I don't think he deserves punishment. I don't think he's guilty for what happened. Mm-hmm. I don't think he wanted to kill, like, his, you know, girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And it was just a very tragic, unfortunate situation mm-hmm. for him. And he constantly is blaming himself. And at some point, he's going to believe he's guilty. Mm. And I feel like that's what happens to him here. He's like, oh yeah, like, I'm guilty. This is my punishment. I should take whatever that comes with that. And I should accept it.
It's I guess it's manifesting itself to be true in the sense that he is living out the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? In the sense that I'm bad. I did something bad, so I deserve punishment. When bad things happen, I accept them as punishment. That's true. But I feel like in his mind, he really does connect those two things as actually being related. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he did this to this girl, so this is God or whatever, the universe, punishing him by taking his arm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like this film is telling us, like, we shouldn't feel so bad about the things that we do in the past. Like, yeah, we make mistakes, and you should try to maybe, I guess, repent or be better. But don't accept punishment. Don't accept negative things happening to you as just some sort of divine cosmic punishment. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And I agree with that. Like, I don't know. I feel like obviously there are exceptions, but most of the times we do bad things, or bad things happen mm-hmm. because of, like, this, I don't know, chain reaction, or couple of things coming together, and you're looking out for yourself, mm-hmm. et cetera, which doesn't necessarily make you a bad person or a good person. Mm-hmm. It just makes you a person, a human. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's hard for Francis to admit that. I don't know why. Maybe, like, does he see everyone else as good and him bad?
I think that might also be a bit of it, because maybe he doesn't see all of Reinhold's flaws, because no matter what he saw Reinhold do, he never saw Reinhold, like, kill a person. You know what I mean? And yeah, maybe Reinhold tried to kill him, but hey, that's what I deserve. But this guy, he's just bad to girls sometimes, and he robs and steals, but he's not as evil as me. I killed a woman who loved me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I guess also that's normal in a way. Like, we're self-centered as humans, right? Mm-hmm. So if you do a bad thing or a good thing, you don't think automatically, oh, there are other people who do bad things, mm-hmm. or, you know, I don't know, like, there are other people that do good things, etc. Mm-hmm. So you just think for yourself mm-hmm. and in your life.
Yeah.
You don't consider that everyone does the same things or goes through the same things.
Yeah. Definitely, Franz is putting himself in his own personal hell, though. So,
yeah. But
anyway, after this confrontation or meetup again with Reinhold, they become buddy again, and now Franz becomes the ultimate crash out. He takes a whole, hammer to the face of Ahmed and Abdul in the park. He starts a race war. Franz starts a race war and starts beating up everybody. And they started whooping ass and pouring salt in their enemies' eyes. Just gangster shit on another level. And he ends up hanging out with Palms, and Palms is like really taking to Franz. Like, he really is like, this guy is special. You know what I mean? And Reinhold starts to feel more jealous because of their relationship. And you can definitely see it in the seating situation. And this is when Francis starts to make his first mistake. His fatal mistake. He rejects the prostitute that Palms is offering him and says, I got a girl. Mietze is her name. And Reinhold says, really? And it all
one time cheating would save the life.
I know, right? The one time he should have cheated. But yeah, what did you think about, Francis becoming a hitman? And yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to think like it's really hard for him to be open to or be vulnerable with the people that he loves. And like Eva, even to a point with Mietze, because he doesn't share everything with her.
Yeah.
Right? And he rejects their help, even though it's so easy. Yet it's so easy for him to accept Reinhold's help or Pum's help. And I think that goes back to like, he just is this life. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's his past, also back in his own country, that he's used to like grinding and hustling and all, gangster stuff. And maybe that's just what he finds easy. And it's just hard for him to be vulnerable to women or to the people who actually care about him.
I think actually it's the woman part, because if I think about this film, right, and it was reversed and he was hanging out with some female gangsters, right? It's Eva right here and Mietze on the other side, and they're doing gangster shit. And then some guys come to him and say, hey, I got you an apartment, just be a bodyguard. And it was reversed. I think he would go with the guys. I really think deep down inside Francis has like a maybe sexist worldview, where he's like, this is a man's world, and I'm going to play a man's game and be my own man,
Yeah. I don't know. That's the only logical conclusion I can come to, because it doesn't make sense otherwise.
Yeah, that's one of the... But I would say from this scene onwards, this is when the film ramps up. And this is when it becomes much better, especially on the second watch. The first watch, it was great. We were going crazy during these scenes. We were like, oh, shit. But, if you watch it the second time, I would, if I watched this film the second time, I would fast forward literally to this scene and watch it again from here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And this scene particularly is also really good because it has like that German techno music in the background, like
yeah.
And then like we see all these different scenes.
Yeah,
Francis like going back to his old ways.
Yeah, just gangster,
really
and the way they pour salt in
they're pouring dirt. I think
dirt
in this man's mouth, in Ahmed's mouth.
Oh my god. It was just savage. Then they're laughing about it later. Oh my god. Anyway, he meets up with Mietze, and Mietze is like, I just came back from work. You miss me, babe? And Francis is like, I got a new job now. I don't want you to be prostituting anymore. And Mietze is like, I want to earn my own money. I want to continue to be independent. And Francis turns and says, you are a whore. And she actually gets a little bit upset, but Mietze finds out, she knows, she's from the streets too. She's like, don't just say you have a job. Tell me what you really into. You really in the streets, and be a man and say it. So what did you think about those scenes?
Once again, too much grace is given to Francis by these women. He's sexist. He doesn't want independent. He doesn't want an independent woman. I think he's intimidated by independent women with Eva, with Mietze.
I mean, she does come home and not even brush her teeth though, and give him a straight kiss.
That is okay. That does not matter.
It does,
because Francis probably killed more people than Mietze. Mietze is giving people orgasm.
Okay.
Francis is giving people Molly and drugs and crack.
Okay, I'm just saying, show a little bit of respect. You got to get the testicle smell out your lip.
Okay, I am not going in this argument. But yeah, that's like kind of revealed what Francis actually thought of Mietze's job. And he still wants her to be pure and not be a prostitute or a sex worker. And I also hate like this thing of like, I'm hustling, so I won't tell my partner or my wife, because why do y'all think we are stupid?
Yeah, but he doesn't want her to worry. You know what I mean?
If you're doing it, we're already worrying. Like, if you don't want us to worry, then don't do it.
Yeah.
It does not make sense.
Yeah. But it is dumb for Francis to think this could last forever. You know what I mean? Like, he needs to really be thinking about an exit plan. But... anyway, so there was this really cool scene afterwards when he's out there at the park hustling, and then the police show up and he has to book it. He's running with all the other Africans. This scene was done very, very well. And this park is so damn big that he's able to hide off in there.
Yeah,
so
like the forest or something.
I know, right? So this scene was done really well. pacing once again is very good. And yeah, we get more flashbacks of him and the bull and him and Reinhold, right? But now he's not being sacrificed. He's sort of just there standing sort of like as equals, I guess. Moving forward, there's going to be another heist, and Pooms actually tells Francis, "You're in the car with me. Reinhold, you ride in the back car like a little bitch." And so when Pooms is in the car with Francis, he starts telling him the story about how he found Reinhold. I scraped him off the streets, but, nowadays, guys like me, we're going out of business. You know what I mean? The old gangsters have to give way to the new. And I think Pooms is also implying here that if he could do it over, he would have rather had Franz be his replacement than Reinhold. So what did you think about this scene with them together?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of ironic, I guess, like, because this guy is also very evil too, like Reinhold, right?
Yeah.
And it was interesting to see, like, I guess, like, generational trauma of, like, how Pooms picked Reinhold off of the street and gave him a job and all the credibility in the street. Yeah. And then Reinhold did the same for Francis. So I was thinking, like, from Francis's point of view, like, how he was perceiving that, and how sort of seeing, because I don't know if he was able to see Pum's evilness. I'm not sure. But I think also when he said, like, I don't have him anymore, he owns me, it felt like, I don't know, Reinhold's evil is even bigger than Pum's evil.
That's what I'm thinking.
It like, sort of, I don't know, took over the whole evilness. Yeah,
I think he didn't realize, like, how bad Reinhold is, as, like, because he's like, yo, he threw you out of a car, and this guy is a savage, like, in the streets. So maybe I made a wrong choice. Like, I think Reinhold, like, when he says that, I don't have him, he owns me, he's scared of Reinhold. You know what I mean? They got like and I'm about to get nerdy with it, they got a Emperor Palpatine, Darth Vader sort of situation. Like, Pooms is Palpatine. He knows Vader wants to kill him eventually, but Palpatine also has to stay one step ahead so Vader doesn't kill him. And that's what it sort of feels like.
Yeah, I was going to say another reference.
Go ahead.
If this was a South Park episode, Pooms would be Satan and Reinhold would be Trump.
Okay, I see that. Like, yeah.
If you've seen the later episode.
Yeah, if you've seen the new season. Yeah, that's a good description too. But basically, we find out now that Pooms was definitely right to be scared of Reinhold, because they do a heist and Pooms leaves the scene. He leaves Reinhold and Francis behind. Reinhold and Francis hop in another car, and when they're speeding away, they see that Pooms' car had flipped over and there's a major crash. Pooms is sort of like, left in the street, and Reinhold comes up to him, lights a cigarette, and sets his ass on fire. We hear Pooms crying for his life as he burns alive. So, what did you think of that? The end of Pooms.
I mean, that was intense.
Yeah.
That was intense. And I feel like also Reinhold orchestrated the crash because he was feeling threatened between, like, this energy between Francis and Pooms.
Yeah.
Like, as if, they're going to, like, leave him out and they're going to be the partners, especially Francis having more power in the structure, right? Yeah. So I felt like instead of getting rid of Francis, which he tried to do, but he didn't die.
Yeah. He got rid of Pooms.
Yeah, he got rid of Pooms.
Which is an even bigger power move.
Yes. Now it made him the boss.
Now he's the boss. Now he's the mid man. Which is, this film is interesting. Like, it's a little bit of gangster mafia shit. So it's like you're watching Goodfellas a little bit. You know what I mean? Somebody gets knocked off, new bosses here. Wow. But, yeah, man, this scene was very good, too, and very intense. And it was kind of sad to see Pooms go, especially after the scene when he has this heart-to-heart father-son sort of relationship with Francis. You know what I mean? Out of all the men that we see interact with Francis, and I believe this is, like, one of the only few, right? Pooms comes across as, like, somebody who kind of genuinely kind of wants to see Francis succeed. Because I don't feel like Reinhold really wants Francis to succeed. He looks at him like a tool.
It's hard for me to believe that when he's racist.
A little bit, yeah. But I mean, he's like, he's like the old German, who's like, the monkeys are here, but, this one's a good one. He's one of the good ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how genuine that is. It's a good business move, but I don't know if it's genuine.
I guess. But, Pooms also recognizes his fate. He says, guys like me are going out of style. And I feel like that also, like, symbolizes, like, how, Francis and the other refugees coming to Germany and the West in general are, like, these new replacements for these people that have been there for generations, right? But anyway, Mietze is pregnant. And Francis says, who the daddy?
No, he does not.
But Mietze says he's pregnant. And I forgot, how did Francis react to that?
He was happy.
He was happy? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, she says that. And he gets on the phone with Reinhold. And Reinhold's like, the park is ours. We did it, man. We're now going to be successful. We got all this money and power. And Francis is like, listen, I saw what you did to Poems. I'm not going to snitch, but I need 50-50 of all the money we make now. And I need my German passport. You promised me and you said you would get it, right? And Reinhold's like, okay, all right, bet. And I think there was a scene here where Reinhold is actually in his apartment and everything is fucking destroyed. Do you remember that?
No.
Well, when he gets off of the phone here, we see that Reinhold's apartment is like totally trash. It's like he went home and he like destroyed it all out of like angst or whatever. But what did you think about, Mietze becoming pregnant, the new deal with Poems and Francis, anything?
I think I was happy that they were pregnant. I thought a bit like it's a way for Francis to keep her locked in a way that, because he already didn't want her working, right? So this is a way. And I'm not sure if it was here, but even if it wasn't, it is at some point somewhere.
Yeah. Where
Mietze is like, I'll just get like a normal job, like at a grocery store or something. Yeah. And I feel like that's happy news for Francis because it's what he wants.
Right.
But yeah, I was just like, are you dumb? Like, you can marry Mietze. Mm-hmm. You already have a kid together. Why are you
he's
going through this path?
To get a German passport. Maybe possibly, I'm going to be graceful to the film. Maybe he overstayed his visa. He's there illegally. Even if he married Mietze, he'd have to leave the country and no guarantee he could come back. So maybe he's still trying to go the shortcut route. I'm still reaching because there was the Eva route. There's, the Mietze route. There's several other routes he could have taken. But, yeah,
I feel like they could help him.
Yes.
Like they can send him to Turkey for a couple of months and then he can come back to Germany.
I know, right?
Or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But, oh, my God, there was something else I wanted to say. Well, oh, yeah. Now that we found out Mietze is pregnant, once again, the stakes are getting higher and higher for Francis. And this is going to be related to Reinhold's evil later, but setting Poems on fire, we forgot to give a ranking for this in Reinhold evil scale. I give this a solid 5. That's a 5 out of 5. Yeah, 5 out of 5 devil
4.
scale.
I would give it a 4.
Give it a 4? Why, you think Poems kind of deserved it a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit,
yeah,
okay.
He was like pinching his ear and stuff.
I know, right? He did almost drag that man's ear out of his skull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Psycho bisexual.
Yeah, Poems was a wild boy. Everybody deserves their own movie. Like, Poems needs a movie. Reinhold needs a movie. I'd even watch the Mietze movie. You know what I mean? So, but Reinhold setting Poems on fire, 5 out of 5. But I don't think I have to create a new scale for what he does later.
Yeah, that's why I did not give it a 5.
That's true. Okay. But anyway, this is a very cool scene. I would argue this is one of the best scenes in the film. Francis goes back to the refugee center and tries to do the same speech that Reinhold did at the beginning of the film when he stands up in front of the Africans and says, I see all of you men here. You want to be successful. You want to be... But I can't do it. Can you do the Reinhold arm thing? Let me see you do the arm. Let me see you do the Reinhold arm. I don't think it's good. It's good, but it's not.
It's hard to see it in the camera.
It's hard to see it in the camera. I'm not that flexible. Anyway, he does the thing. He doesn't do the arm, but he gives a rousing speech, and it's paired with the music and the scenes of Mietze pregnant, right? And he says, I came to Germany with nothing. Now I have an apartment. Now I have a car. I have a German woman. I even have a German name. Franz. And all the Africans are like, yeah, my name's Sebastian. But he says, I am Germany. I am the German dream. And all the Africans are like, yeah. And he pulls out the money and says, this is what gives you power. And he hands out the money and everybody's just going crazy with it. What did you think of this scene?
Yeah, I think this scene, I also really like it because it has like several points. At first, when he goes there, he's like reading from a paper that Reinhold wrote, and then nobody's paying attention to him, and he just like switches it up and like starts giving this powerful speech, which kind of also shows like how, I don't know, like how Reinhold was more evil than Pums. Now it's like showing a bit like, not Francis is more evil, but more like charismatic or more powerful than Reinhold. Yeah, so the same thing that happened to Pums is now kind of happening to Reinhold. And the look he gives is kind of a look of jealousy or spite. It's
so mixed because when they zoom in on Reinhold's face, he's like sort of proud that he created this monster, but also, scared and jealous of what he's made.
Yeah. And it's also a good speech. Like it starts off saying like, now I have a German car and I have a German girlfriend and I have sex in my German car with my German girlfriend.
Yes.
And I also agree, like, you know, he was saying, I hate when they call me refugee, like call me immigrant, call me a new arrival. And I think like, yes, nowadays some words have like become so, I don't know, overused by the right.
Right.
I would say that now they have like a negative connotation. I do agree, like, with the fact that we should, I don't know, change those or have new words that doesn't make people feel inferior.
Exactly. I mean, the way the refugee is imagined in the mind is mostly negative. And I really like how this film always kinds of reminds us that this is a immigrant story, right?
Yeah.
And it's a deeply human story too, about the desire to want to be your full self. But it's also an anarchist story in the sense that just because he does not have a piece of paper, he cannot be a full man.
Yeah.
And he had to go this other route to just become fully actualized as a human. So yeah.
And just a couple of more things, because I also really like this scene. Typical men, you know, they're like, I'm earning money for my baby and my family. Meanwhile, Nietze is there alone, going through this stuff that is scary, and he's supposed to be working. He is working, but you know, I feel like that's a lot of the time what men miss is that's that true. You should be there emotionally as well.
Yeah.
And plus, Nietze never asked money from him. Anyway, and then like when he comes to the car and Reinhold is there, Reinhold is kind of like sarcastically making fun of him. And then he doesn't realize that, and he's like, "Yeah, I am German." And I was like, "This is how immigrants become MAGA."
Yeah, like Francis did not realize that Reinhold is always one step ahead of him, and that a lot of the times when Reinhold is talking to him, he's joking about him and making fun of him.
Trolling him.
Yeah, he is trolling him. And like the trolling that Reinhold does at the end of towards the end of the film, this starts becoming more and more that it's just it should be studied in classrooms.
And also, what is up with the jacket?
I thought this was so good. You should get
one of these.
Like
and it's like Greece. It reminded me of Greece.
I mean, this is like a typical starter jacket. La Brea is like this area in Los Angeles. I think it's like it's either a neighborhood or a school, a famous high school. But it's just like now he has the dope dealer haircut and he's got the bomber jacket. It's like, you know, it's done very well, I would say. The whole look and aesthetic.
Dealer in Bronx in the 80s.
I know, right? Yeah. You know, Germany, they're a bit behind. They get they're vintage shoppers, you know.
Wow.
Anyway, moving forward. So, Reinhold is like, you know, when will I meet Nietze? Will you hide her from me forever? And Atu, the face of Atu, he's like, oh, no.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my God. But, basically, Kitty, or Nietze, is at home turning down clients on the phone. And Francis comes home and then proposes to her and says, we're going to get married. And Miete is like, yes, I'll do it, but I'm the only one playing family here. You keep on going out, but you're not here with me, just like what Acti said earlier. And so, Francis is like, you need to stay home. I will go out to this party and continue to do my business. And so then she hops on the phone and says, yeah, I'm free to do some fucking tonight. So, yeah, what did you think about this, if anything?
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with what Miete did at the end because it's kind of putting the baby in danger. Mm-hmm. Like if she gets spiked again or something like that, right? Yeah. But still, yeah, Francis is doing like the very typical patriarchal guy thing where he's like making all these promises and giving her gifts and, saying that he wants to marry her and stuff. But then when he needs to show actions to support his words, he's not there. Yeah. And he's trying to have the only fun. Meanwhile, Miete is supposed to be stuck at home because she's pregnant. Yeah. So, yeah, this was understandable why she was sort of like doing this for revenge.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also possibly, this guy wants to marry me. He's not really making money. Like, we both probably need to get some money if we really want to do this, too. But also, yeah, she didn't want to give up her freedom as well, like this guy thinks he can come in with one arm and tell me what to do. Bitch, I held this down. Anyway, so yeah, Francis is at this party and he's dancing with his boys. He's balling. He's on top of the world. Eva is there too, and she's all dressed up. I think it's maybe a Halloween party or something like that. Otto comes through and says, Reinhold wants you to wear this costume. And it's a gorilla costume, and his boys are dressed up like gorilla African fighters as well. So it's like a double entendre pun. But yeah, Francis is literally dressed up like a monkey in the club, and Eva sees him and says, I don't know whether to laugh at you or cry at you. And they have a talk later. Eva says, I always thought you were special. And, Francis is like, yeah, can't you see? Can you believe I started with nothing and now I'm here? And they end up kissing. But yeah, she can't save him from himself, and he is too far gone. Meanwhile, Miete is at the hotel, and guess who called her up? It's Reinhold. Reinhold is the guy that was trying to get in touch. He found her, and he then reveals his name to her. And Miete is like, what's going on between you and my guy, Francis? And he's like, he works for me. He's loyal to me. He can't be loyal to you. And she tries to leave, but then he says, you agreed for an hour. Now give me that mouth. What'd that mouth do? And, whew, my God. What did you think about any of these scenes?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, let's go back one. Reinhold's evil has become to a level where it's becoming artistic. He's like doing puns with costumes and all that stuff. And especially with the costume he shows up later on. It's insane.
The spiked hair, when he becomes spiked hair Reinhold, he's out of control.
Yeah, when he puts that glow up.
When he puts that gel in, you're in trouble.
It's like he's not even there and he's playing this motherfucker.
Yes, got him dressed up like a gorilla, bro.
Yeah, and he puts it on. Like, why would you put it on? Oh my God. And like, I agree with Eva. It's like, I don't know whether to laugh or cry because this is insane. And I specifically put these quotes here because it's annoying. But yeah, like, again, Eva is sucking his dick so hard. Like, she's like, I always thought you were special. Why are you not with me? And, I can make you free and stay away from, like, she's repeating all that stuff. I don't know why. What is her motivation? Even after, like, she got rejected thousands of times.
This is the first time I've ever seen a woman play Captain Save-A-Ho. And this hoe does not want to be saved.
No. Yeah. And then Francis is like, why are you saying that now? And I was so mad. I was like, she has been saying this. Like,
are you about to cry? I feel like you're literally about to cry.
And then he gives her a kiss. Like, nobody needs your kiss. Just go. Just go and fuck up your life.
Yes.
It was so frustrating, but I don't know if you want to say anything.
No, there's nothing else I have to say. Like, yeah, like you said, Reinhold's evil becomes artistic. Like, at this point in the film, after you've, all right, if you're able to compartmentalize in your mind, Francis is an idiot, and then you just enjoy the movie, it's something you've never seen.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen a racist be able to, like, sleep with your girl, and at the same time, he's got you looking a fool the other side of town. Like, that's levels to that. Like, we in the classroom, like, oh, my God. He's the Picasso of trolling. Mm. But what do you rate this on the Reinhold evil scale? Like, sleeping with your homie's girl, and then telling her, no, we agreed for an hour.
That's like that's very high. That's a 4.7.
4.7.
And I think go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I felt like in the scene, Reinhold wants to be Francis, but he is also jealous of Francis from Mietze because he says things like, I have, Francis. He's mine, not yours. So he's jealous of him, like a girlfriend, how a boyfriend would, but he also wants to be him.
Do you think he loves Francis in the sense that he's...
In a twisted way, yes.
Or is it possessiveness that's not love? Do you think... Because there's parts of me that feel like Reinhold looks at everything like a game. Like, his power is he has no fear and everything... He's like the Joker. Like, everything's a big joke. The money isn't important. It's just about what can you get away with? What line can I step? What boundary can I push? Mm-hmm. And his thing is like, yeah, I'm going max in. You know what I'm saying?
I think, like, there was a point, like I said, like in that jacuzzi scene, there were bonds that were made. But I think his personality is, like, too selfish and too, I don't know, twisted and evil to actually love someone. I don't think, like, he has a place for that in his heart.
I feel like I agree with you. I don't see actual love because you don't do what Reinhold did to anybody that you actually love, especially what we see he does later. You know what I mean? Because he takes it to an extreme. But, basically, Francis and Eva are still in the club kissing on each other. And this is very strange if you think about it more. Like, why they continue to kiss? And she knows he's with Mietze. Yeah. So this is, like you said, Eva is doing the most. She is doing the most.
Somebody slap her.
But anyway, guess who shows up? Reinhold. And he is dressed up like the doctor in Curious George. So he's the monkey, and he's like the man in the yellow suit. Oh my God, that's next level.
Attention to detail
or
hate.
This is like Broadway level, like racism.
Yeah.
So basically,
oh my God.
Basically, Reinhold says, I'm sorry I'm late. I met this beautiful girl. Her name was Sonia, and Sonia was the fake name that Mietze gave him. And but he says, sorry I'm late, but I got a surprise for you. Happy birthday. And he gives him a German passport. And the name he gives him is Francis Cabeza de Castor, which translates to Francis the Beaverhead. And once again, the trolling is levels. Now, Beaverhead, to me, sounds like an insult. But it's also the name of this, like, German mountain. But whatever. To me, it's pretty damn funny. This is when Francis says, oh, it's about time you finally met my girlfriend. So, yeah.
Bro, how are you such a gangster and yet so naive when you're talking to this guy?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think, once again, this sort of confirms my idea that, like, Reinhold wants to be Francis in a way that he is, I don't know, maybe he thinks Francis is not as troubled as him, and he just wants to escape his own, like, troubledness that is, like, by his history, and what he lived through, and his evilness. Like, he wants to escape his own evilness by being Francis and trying to imagine a life, because he's so evil. I don't think, like, he can see himself being with any woman, right? Like, in the beginning, he can't see himself having a family, having a child. But even though Francis did bad things, at the end of the day, he still is a normal person to a level where he wants to do those things. And Reinhold is so like fucked up that he can't even have those things, and I feel like he's envious of Francis's humanness.
I think all of those theories are 1,000% valid, and the way you're reading into Reinhold is so dope and in depth. I love it. I just have more fun with the movie watching Reinhold do this evil shit for literally no reason. if he is doing this just to say, I want to fuck with this man to an extent that no man has ever been fucked with before.
And make him think he's not being fucked with.
And yes, that's what makes it more enjoyable for me. Yes, you can read into Reinhold very deeply, and that's the beauty of this film.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it more by turning my brain off with Reinhold and just say, I know he did it. I know he did it. Oh shit, he did it. Like that's more fun for me. So
yeah.
But anyway, he goes home, right? Francis goes home and he comes home with Reinhold. Mietze is not there. So he's like, oh, that's so sad she's not here. I guess I'll have a drink of whiskey. And so then Francis is like, okay, I'll get you a drink. And then he hears the door. Oh, that's Mietze. He goes to open the door. Mietze is like, we have to leave. We have to get out of here. We have to get out of Berlin. This guy, Reinhold, is crazy. And he's like, what do you know about Reinhold? You've never met him. And she says, listen, this man is crazy. He's in the head. He's deranged. He's sick. Don't you see what he's doing to you? And when I first watched it, I was mad, but then I had to think about it. Why doesn't she say that Reinhold tried to seduce her or trick her? But then I remembered she can't say anything because she said she's not going to be a prostitute anymore. And on top of that, she probably had sex with him too. So that's what I was thinking. Like, just say it, but you can't say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, basically, Reinhold reveals himself right there. And she's like, she tries to attack him. Francis, tries to stop her from attacking Reinhold, even though we're in the audience like, get him, Mietze, kill that motherfucker. Francis says, no, stop it. And he slaps Mietze to stop her from attacking Reinhold. And then she kicks both of them out the house. Oh my God, this scene was so dramatic. What'd you think?
Very intense. I like the fact that like while Mietze and Francis are talking, Reinhold is there holding the head of the gorilla,
Ooh.
which it feels like, he has the control Ooh. Of Francis's mind.
Ooh.
That was like such a good, and I just realized that now. Like I didn't realize that when I was watching it, but and then like we have also this sort of, I don't know, unconscious or something that's in the back of Francis's head, which is like the toxic patriarchy, right? He's like, I have to do something. I'm a man. I'm trying to like make a life for us. While all of the women in his life never wanted that from him, never expected that from him, and also like constantly try to help him to get those things. And he only wanted to get help from, like you said, toxic men around him. And here I was kind of shocked how Francis quickly turned away from Mietze. Like how he, I don't know, like how he was so entranced with Reinhold. I was kind of like not expecting that.
How do you think Francis would have reacted had Mietze just said, he slept with me?
Honestly, I don't know. Like, he might have blamed her, calling her like a whore and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the movie, that had she made that choice, I think the film could have been very differently. He could have killed Reinhold right then and there. But then again, I'm not even sure Francis could kill Reinhold in a one-on-one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Reinhold is like hella tricky. Like he'll bite, scratch, kick, gouge eyes out, grab testicles. And Francis got one arm too. Like there's only so much he can do.
I feel like Francis needs a weapon, maybe like the hammer.
Yeah. I feel like Francis is naturally stronger. He's got more muscle on him, but Reinhold is just like a slippery dude.
Yeah.
Like he's
snake.
Yeah. So, but I think. Yeah, man, Mietze got it so bad, and this scene is just so hard to watch too, especially when you slap a pregnant wife. You know what I mean? It's crazy work. But moving forward, Reinhold is trying to cheer up Frances by sending in, one of the girls from earlier. But she is,
out of it.
Yeah, she's out of it. Looks like she's on drugs. And then this is when Frances says, Reinhold is not good for you. I'm done. I'm
Give
leaving.
him an Oscar.
I'm leaving. That's the end of the review. I'm done.
He's so annoying sometimes. Anyways,
Christ.
yeah.
No, finish it. What do you think of this? What do you say to this? Reinhold is not good for you.
Now you know after you slapped your pregnant wife.
Yeah.
Wife to be, whatever. And you're in this room being offered prostitutes who are drugged out. I don't know.
You're gonna tell somebody else that Reinhold is not good for you.
Yeah. So he's good for you, like.
Yeah. Dumbass. Just dumb. Anyway, he tries to go back to Mietze, and Eva is like, she doesn't want to talk to you. Go away. And Mietze comes outside, and she says, there's two men inside of you. One man I love, the other one, that's the devil, and you need to figure out who it is. And he says, I swear I'm going to be good. But she's like, don't swear for me. Do it for yourself or something like that. Right? And, yeah.
Wait.
Go ahead.
I thought this scene was not good for you. You were like, you almost dropped a tear in this scene, no?
I think so. I think I almost did cry.
Why?
Because the idea of a man losing his wife, his, potential family over something so stupid, it's really sad.
Aww.
I thought that was sad. I don't remember if I cried, but it did move me the first time I watched it.
Also, the lighting was really emotional.
Yeah.
In the scene, I think.
Yeah, because they do it in a natural light, I think. They don't have anything in the hallway, you know what I mean? So it's very Eastern European. The sun isn't out. It's probably a very gray, cloudy day.
But it almost felt like a bit biblical.
Mm.
I don't know. Once again, like you said, how maybe Frances's character could be like Christ.
Mm.
I felt like this was a bit of a biblical lighting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Frances is going through hell here. And I think Mietze could represent a Mary Magdalene type character. Mary Magdalene was a companion of Christ who was a prostitute. And she was written out of the Bible because she was a prostitute, right? But her story still lives on. And so I think there's some similarities there. You know what I mean? But poor Eva, she's just like the mother. She's she's the Mother Mary. She's a full-on angel, but she goes through the most hell. She got pregnant without sex. We're always rooting for her, but she gets a short end of the stick. You know what I mean? So yeah,
she got all the bad doings of Frances.
Yes. Anyway, moving forward in the story, right? Frances calmly sits down with Reinhold, who is just, perusing through Tinder. And he says, I love Mietze, I'm getting out. And he says, you're not going to leave before I find my replacement. Now give me back my phone. And he says, you got 1 month, right? So basically, Mietze meets up with Reinhold again, which makes me feel like, okay, maybe she's being a bit dumb. This is maybe the one dumb thing she did. She meets up with Reinhold again, and she says, leave us alone, please. And he's like, the only way I'll leave you alone is if I have your child. I'm just joking. I don't want your baby.
He's a true villain.
I don't want your baby. He says, I just want 20,000 euros. And so she's like, okay, I'll give you 20,000 euros, which, damn, she was slanging a lot of cat. She was slanging a lot of pussy to have 20K lying around. Anyway, he says, you want to know what happened to Frances's arm? And he says, just ride with me. I'll show you where he comes from, and I'll tell you, and then I'll leave you alone forever. So he takes her to the refugee center, and then he takes her to the side where there's prostitution going down, and she sees all sorts of wickedness. And we see Amira, the prostitute from the beginning of the film, who tried to seduce Frances. She's laying down with her eyes off at 1,000-yard stare while some white man is giving her that all 3 inches, hard 3 inches. So, yeah, what did you think about any of these scenes?
Yeah, I thought like this "I want your child" thing was maybe a reference to like German folklore. I feel like, you know, in the, I don't know if it was like the Grimm tales or something.
Brother Grimm.
Yeah, like there's always that theme of like capturing someone's child.
Interesting. I didn't think about that. That's a very good point.
Like he's truly like a German villain. I don't know. That's just what it made me think. And once again, I kind of agree with you that this might be the only stupid thing Mieze did, because I don't understand why she was so obsessed with trying to find out what happened to like Franz's arm.
Like he couldn't tell her. Like what? Why didn't Francis just say?
You know, he probably didn't want to tell her because he's too proud. And he said that it was an accident. So he just like kept it with that. But I feel like, why does it matter? Like, he does not have one arm. You know, something happened between them. Like, why do you need to know all the tea? Like, I don't understand the fascination with that.
Yeah.
You know, she could have just walked away there and then when Reinhold tried to lure her in. But what do you rate the extortion of 20,000 euros to leave, to stop stalking us? Yeah, it's a 1. That's a 1. That's a 1. In the Reinhold scale. In the Reinhold scale, it is a 1. You're right. I give it maybe a 2. I give it a 2. Yeah. But go ahead. But I thought this scene was very powerful because, you know, Mieze is in the same profession as the lady here, or all the ladies there. They're all sex workers. But even within that line of work, there are systematic differences or systematic discriminations. There are racial discriminations. Just the status of being a refugee puts this lady in a position that is like not hygienic, probably doesn't have a lot of pay, you know, kind of stuck in this cycle. More dangerous. And when we see like how the sex scenes were depicted for Mieze, it's like 5-star hotel. Of course, it's still dangerous. Right. Like when she got spiked, but it's like more hygienic, and they make it look more fun in a way, like as fun as it could be, I guess. And it felt like in this scene when their eyes met, it was like that sort of, I don't know, unspoken communication. Where, you know, this woman probably thinks, oh, look at this privileged white girl. And then Mieze's thinking, damn, like, I am a lucky sex worker. Yeah. I don't know. Like that sort of definitely. I think this film, one of the themes is that there's levels to depravity and there's levels to freedom. You know what I mean? Like, Francis is on the search for freedom, and he gains some freedom, but he always has to answer to somebody, in this case, Reinhold, right? And, when it comes to Mieze, right, she has some level of freedom, but she still has to answer to her clients and stuff like that. And even though they pay her more, they give her some more freedom, but it's not, you know, full and complete. And these women are probably have the lowest amount of freedom and the least amount of capability to escape and reach another level of freedom in the sex work they do in the refugee camp. So, very, very deep here. Very dope scene. So after she sees that, you know, Mieze is actually like kind of really sick by what she saw. She goes out into the forest, and Reinhold is like, you know, he's saying like, I saved Francis. You know, the only way he was going to make it out of that hell was through me. And then Francis starts talking more about, you know, I've never had love before. I don't know what it feels like to be loved. And Mietze's asking, what happened to his arm? And he says, I'll tell you, but first you have to give me a kiss. A kiss like, you know, like you give Francis. A kiss like, you know, makes me feel like I'm being loved for real. So she does that, and he starts spilling the beans. He starts telling the full story about what happened to his arm. And he says, you know, I did all that because it was an act of love. It's what I had to do to show him I love him, right? And then after that, he chokes and kills her. So what did you think about, you know, this scene, all of these scenes with Reinhold and Mieze in the woods? Oh, I don't want to look at this. Okay. But yeah, I think this sort of confirms, like, my thinking that Reinhold is incapable of love because of his own past trauma. And he's jealous of how Francis is able to experience that. And at the same time, Francis is able to like be in the crime world, be a gangster, make money from that while having a regular life. And that's something Reinhold could never do. And yeah.
For me, once again, there's what Reinhold says and there's how he acts. And my impression of him is that he's a bit of a sociopath. He could never know what love is because he is physically incapable of it.
Yeah.
So he might be saying, I want to feel love. I want to be loved. I feel like that's a sort of like
manipulation.
Yeah, manipulation, or you know how sociopaths or sociopaths, they know how to act the way people want them to act. So he can act like I'm weak and whatever right now, but really it's a type of manipulation, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I look at this scene as. Like, it's all fake. He probably got, hugged by his mama and sucked on his mama's titty, you know what I mean? But he just didn't associate that with love because his brain is fried.
I definitely think there's like that fakeness and sociopathicness. I definitely agree. But I'm thinking like, yeah, still in the back of his head, that's how he's feeling. And yeah.
No, there's nothing else. I think but when he says pushing, Francis out of a car was an act of love, that shows how twisted his brain is. Like, that's not love.
I don't even think he believes that.
Yeah,
like
he
you
doesn't.
said. I think he knows, like, he did it out of hate.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to make himself look better to Mieze.
Yeah.
But I was so pissed at his explanation. Like, it was just so not, like, satisfactory. Like, no tea. This is how men give tea. They're like, they make 3 sentences and that's it. They don't give any details. And he also made Franz look like he was the fault.
Yeah.
Like, he was at fault. He was kicking doors or, losing it, and he had to kick him out of the car.
I mean, I guess in Reinhold's mind, Franz is always at fault because Franz still lives in the make-believe world where there's good and bad. And in, Reinhold's world, there's just what you can get away with, what you can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, moving forward, after he kills Mieze, he then goes up to Francis and he's like, you can quit, man. I don't need you anymore. It's okay. And Francis is like, really? He's like, yeah, we're good.
Now, this is 5 out of 5.
Yeah, so ranking this on the evil scale.
Yeah, killing a pregnant lady.
Yeah.
In the woods. And also, she's your best friend, I guess, wife to be. That is an insane evil wickedness.
Yeah, I did not expect this in the story. And when it happened, I was shocked.
I was feeling the tension, honestly, this wood scene. But I also wasn't thinking like, oh, she's going to die.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know, man. I mean, Reinhold was wicked. I did not see him going there with it. I knew that maybe she wasn't safe there. I thought he might rape her, honestly. I thought that's as far as he would go. I did not expect him to kill a pregnant woman. But
insane levels.
It was insane levels, right? But Francis is like, oh man, I love you, Reinhold. You're the best, man. I knew you always keep it real with me. And he goes to shake Otto's hand, and Otto's like, his hand is like cold as ice. And I wonder what Otto was thinking right then and there, because like, yo, Francis beat me until my eye is gone, but his baby mama just got murked in the woods, and I can't say nothing. Like, it was so...
Yeah, I know, right? Otto is like the silent revenger.
I know, right?
He's like, look at you.
Look at you.
This is what you deserve.
This is, yes. Oh, my God.
Eye for a body.
I'm done. Anyway, I think one of the saddest scenes, he's so happy that he quit his job now. He gets to be with Mieze, and Mieze does not show up for dinner. He stays up all night waiting for her. That is tragic as hell, man. So, yeah, basically he gets a knock on the door. The police come in, and they say, where have you been? Where were you yesterday? And he was like, I was at the park with Fufu and Mofongo and all of them. And we see a flashback of, Reinhold on top of Mieze just, squeezing the life out of her. And he gets... this news through the pictures of Diane Mietze, and he says, "You are lying. Fuck are you?" And so, yeah, now Reinhold is sort of free out there in the world doing his nasty things, still sleeping with prostitutes. And meanwhile, Francis is in the prison cell just losing his mind, thinking about all the people he met. Palms, Eva, Mietze, Reinhold, Otto even, and thinking about all the things that he experienced. And they're telling him, shame, shame, shame on yourself. Feel shame. And Reinhold is also going through a breakdown too. You know what I mean? He's looking at himself in the mirror and he sees back like a monster or something. And so Reinhold almost kills one of the girls that he's sleeping with, and the police come and arrest him. And then in the prison cell that Francis is in, he sees Reinhold. We don't know if that's really Reinhold, and he chokes him out, and it looks like he kills him. But we don't know if it's a dream or the real Reinhold. And that's sort of like the end of their relationship. So what did you think about any of these scenes?
I mean, I really like these scenes unraveling of the like psyche of Francis, just looking back, like him looking back, realizing every mistake he made finally. And I like, where it says he had to break apart completely before he can pick himself up together again. And I think from here, I'm thinking a little bit like his demise was a combination of different things. Like it was the fact that he had he was a refugee, an illegal refugee in Germany, right? It was the fact that he had toxic masculinity. He was, he had toxic patriarchal thoughts, where like you can see here, with happiness right in front of you, you choose to be strong. Sometimes I feel like men do that they feel like they have to be strong or they can't accept help from women in their lives. And that like furthermore helps their suffering. And they don't have to do that. And yeah, it was like his past also haunting him, like him losing his girlfriend or his, I don't know, like the girl that he was with in the beginning. Yeah. His past as a criminal. Like all these combined sort of prepared his demise, his downfall.
Francis even tried to kill himself while in jail. He like stacked up all these cigarettes and then crushed them and then tried to drink the tobacco as like a type of poison. Yeah. And that sort of like, I think also furthered his, dive into psychosis when he starts, imagining things and becoming very loopy.
Yeah. And I think like it adds up to what you said earlier, like when you're a refugee, that definition is very flat. Yeah. And it's very one-dimensional, but just because you're a refugee in a country, it doesn't mean you don't have the same kind of problems that everyday people have, like fighting with your urges, having, pride, these like human sins or human flaws that we all have. Yeah. You have all of those, and on top of it, you have like this additional stress or burden of being a refugee. And, sometimes on top of it, you have the stress of being a racial minority. Yeah.
I think also this scene was very good because even at that point, we were like kind of done with Francis. Like, bro, like you kind of brought yourself here. You know what I'm saying? This scene still made us sympathize with him for just like everything you said. Like he did go through a lot. And yeah, he made some bad choices. But the way he reflected on everything in his mind and the words that people said or didn't say to him made him have some self-realization. You know what I mean? Like shame. You should feel shame. You should feel bad about what you have done, about the choices you've made. And so that's what I think it prevents this film from being totally trash. Because if it was like just Francis continuing to make dumbass choices all the way to the end with no sort of realization, I'd have been like, oh, what the fuck is this? Yeah. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that is true. Like nowhere in the story, no one ever actually said like you should be ashamed or this is your punishment to Francis. He always said that to himself. And I guess maybe that's like one effect society has on us. Yeah. That for some things we feel like we should feel shameful, even though sometimes we're just trying to survive.
Yeah. Last question. Do you think that he actually killed Reinhold, or that was just his imagination?
I think it might be his imagination, because why would they be put in the next to each other?
Yeah, that's too, yeah.
I feel like that's kind of unreal.
Yeah, very unreal.
Yeah.
Plus, we need a sequel, so we need Reinhold to come back.
No.
He's like, Francis, or Franz, you have a beautiful baby.
Wow.
Anyway, so yeah, this is sort of like the last scene we have of Mietze and Reinhold together, this very artistic shot of him having his arms again. Very interestingly, I just not noticed that.
Yeah. And he's the one who's sort of dead.
Yeah.
And Mietze is alive.
Interesting. Very poetic, artistic shot right here. But yeah, basically the film ends. The epilogue is him coming out of prison. He's surrounded by the noise pollution of the cars and stuff like that. And he is greeted by Eva and his child. Apparently, the 4 months that that Mietze was pregnant allowed her to give birth to a healthy child. We suspended all belief.
She wasn't 4 months. She was about to give birth.
Okay. She looked very tiny.
Yeah, well, sometimes it doesn't grow out that much.
Okay.
Y'all are too... I can't.
Either way, Eva doing this is ultimate pick-me behavior. This is top 10 pick-me.
I know, right? She waited 7 years, 10 years?
I know, right? Taking care of this baby, trying to get her the right curlers and the right grease, taking her to all the black barbershops and
making her
salons.
like a mini Eva.
Making her a mini Eva. And teaching her how to chase after dirty, no good niggas. Just put it. This is the ultimate tragedy. That little girl is gonna lust after a Nigerian that's gonna dog her out.
Wow.
She's gonna grow up and be somebody's side piece. My God, I'm sorry for projecting that to that child. But I can't trust Eva after all this. I know we should be rooting for Eva. That's a ride or die. But no,
yeah.
Eva. But I don't know. I feel like you would do the same. You're not going to leave that child for the streets.
Obviously, I'm not going to leave the child for the streets. But I'm not going to show up at the prison this. I'm going to be like, what is wrong with you?
It's the hands just going like this. Anyway, what did you think of this coming back? Anything?
Yeah. I mean, Eva is the ultimate angel or something, because she can't do nothing bad, obviously.
Yeah.
It was sad, sentimental. It was something left from Mietze to Francis.
Yeah.
Something to remind him that he should be good.
Yeah.
After this, he shouldn't get into Reinhold again, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and also it does give a little bit of hope and sentimentality to the film that after all of this, he can maybe do right by being a good father to his child and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it is moving. It's a very interesting ending, I would say. There's this scene when he sits at I believe the same fountain where he saved that guy at before, but now he has a suit on and stuff like that. And yeah, he's just... full on Francis or Franz. And I guess he now opened his eyes to white collar crime. Yes, he's I
hope he's getting married to Eva in this outfit.
Yeah, that's the only reason, yes. The only way that this could have helped is if he married Eva. But the way he's dressed, he's I know what I will do. Self-help books.
Wow. He became a preacher.
I know what I will do. Multi-level marketing.
I know what I will do. Cryptocurrency.
Yes, that's the Herbalife stare, bro.
Yeah, I know what I will do. Nigerian scam.
I am a Nigerian prince. Yes.
Okay.
That's because Francis didn't learn. No, this is not problematic. He deserves all the smoke. He deserves all the smoke.
Okay.
Acts like a man, think like a woman.
I'm gonna say a twisted one.
Go ahead.
Ready? I know what I will do. Skin bleaching. I can't. I am too problematic. Anyway, sorry. Sorry for that.
Oh God, I'm sorry. We just can't.
It was a reoccurring joke he was making, actually.
No, yes.
So that's why it came to my mind.
No, it's just Francis deserves all the smoke. If you've seen this film, you know what we're talking about. So, yeah, if that's the end, listen, it's a good movie for that first watch. If you got 3 hours to kill in the evening and you got like a glass of wine and you and your boo just want to watch like a kind of a very good drama with like some overtones on like deeper moral themes, it's very good. But Francis makes it so hard. So what do you think?
Overall, I think like this is one of those movies that are complex, but you don't need to watch it a second time to understand it.
Yeah, the second time might make it worse.
Yeah. But like I thought the cinematography was really good. Like there were some beautiful, beautiful shots, beautiful dialogue, deep dialogue, like you said, that you can talk about it for hours. So in that sense, I think it's like a good movie to definitely see. And I would recommend it to like anyone, basically.
Yeah, I would recommend it for people that are like into maybe some like, like heavy dramas and stuff like that. Because this is like a heavy drama.
Yeah.
But also people that are into great villains. Like Reinhold is definitely in the running for like villain of the year. You know what I mean? Reinhold is up there. He is that guy. You know what I mean? I just need a good shot of Reinhold real quick, being villainous.
He's definitely a character that I believe was put a lot of detail into. Like his movements, his clothes, his style, like how his style changed.
Yeah. His
behavior.
Yeah.
I feel like they definitely put a lot of like effort into his character.
Yeah. The second watch of this movie becomes more about enjoying the Reinhold performance rather than gleaning more from Francis's story. Because, while Francis's story is deep, it only goes so far, and it's blocked because of those poor choices. Yeah. But the Reinhold thing it's like watching, what's his name? Heath Ledger in The Joker or Dark Knight, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah. I mean, I also got very annoyed with Francis throughout. I guess in the end, he sort of saves it. Like, sort of, you're like, okay, he is human at the end of the day, and he made mistakes.
Yeah. And
that sort of thing. But, yeah, definitely throughout the movie, I got frustrated with him.
Yeah.
But, yeah, what do you rate this movie?
Final score, the first time we watched it, I gave it like a 9 or something like that. It actually gets knocked down a bit. I'm somewhere between 6.5 and 7. And this film reminds me, and I'm not going to go off on a rant, but this film reminds me of this other African refugee story we watched called The Outsider, right? And that was a film that I loved the first time I saw it. Then I watched it again, and I had the same problem. The main character does so many choices that it's hard to sympathize with or understand. And that's the thing that I really don't like about films. If you can't make the main character understandable and sympathetic, then it's really hard to get into that film. We watched a Serbian film where a man does the most wicked, evil things you could ever imagine. And throughout the film, we were like, we could understand why he did it. You know what I mean? If we can't tell a refugee story, whether it be Berlin Alexanderplatz or The Outsider or The Invader, whatever it is, and to make it make sense, then there's still a problem in this genre.
Yeah, I think like a better example would be a Serbian film because that film is insane.
It is.
But like it would be maybe Aisha Can't Fly.
Aisha Can't Fly.
Like every decision Aisha made as a refugee made sense. Like, as an audience, you're like, I would probably do the same. Or, oh, she's smart. Where here, it's like, Francis, you keep constantly pushing away the opportunities. Yeah. But I would give this movie, I think, an 8.
An 8, okay.
Yeah. Like, the second watch, obviously, it was, like, a bit more frustrating because of Francis. And I had more questions, more flaws, pointed at me. But I think overall, it's still a very solid, good, well-told movie with like good character building. It could be better like Eva, but other than that, I think the other characters were like well built, especially the villain, which is important, I think, in a movie to like have a good villain.
Very good villain.
Yeah.
And also good supporting characters like Mietze, like Eva, etc. But I think we'll wrap up this review right here. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you get a chance to watch this movie. And let us know if you have any other films that you think we should get to. And this has been Berlin Alexanderplatz, episode 142 of Simon and Acty Movie Reviews. Catch y'all next time, and peace.